It's Thanksgiving Thursday, the favourite Thursday for all football fans each and every year. And I'm delighted to be joined, as you can see on screen now, by the Professor Brad Allen. Prof, let's very quickly talk about Monday night. The Ravens, best team in football, bar none.
Yeah, I mean they're like a finely oiled machine, just rolling over everything in their path. I think I saw. I mean, there's all sorts of good stats coming out of there.
Yeah.
Scored touchdowns on the first 6 drives. They haven't punted in their last 3 games until Lamar was out of the game for RG3. But that is just they're doing superb stuff, and I guess the market is now reacting, probably putting them 6-point favourites against maybe the second best team in the league. So there's some respect being paid at last.
2 weeks in a row, Prof, I went against you on one of the marquee games. I went with the Whale and I went with Adam Chernoff. Was they took the Rams plus 3.5. I have learned my lesson. We're not recording the main week 13 podcast until Wednesday night, but I have learned, Brad. I have learned. But you're on your own today, so the floor is completely yours. Let's start with Thanksgiving. First game. Okay, Prof, we're meant to hype up games, right? We're meant to kind of get excited. But the Bears and the Lions. Look, we're going to be watching it anyway. We can kind of talk all the guff we want at the moment, but we will be watching this game. Let's have a look at the betting. A hell of a lot of uncertainty about the Lions quarterback situation as we have it at the moment. Jeff Driscoll probably will start, but he may not. Well, let's have a look at the betting. Currently at Matchbook, you can back the Detroit Lions at home as ever on Thanksgiving at 2.67 on the money line. The Chicago Bears at 1.57. Main handicap here is 3.5. Obviously, the Lions getting the start. A big reason is because of that injury doubt over Jeff Driscoll, and 37.5 is the total. Brad, a lot of line moves here so far. Early in the week, Bears a 1-point favorite. Line has shifted 2.5 points. Total has dropped about 2 points, 2.5 as well. We discussed pre-recording. You described this as a shit show.
It is a shit show. I mean, it's a lot of that is the Lions, isn't it? If Stafford was playing, we might have a nice game here.
Yeah.
But from what I can gather, it looks like Driscoll probably will start, and he probably will be compromised. Obviously, it's a hamstring he's dealing with, and his strength as a quarterback is his mobility. I mean, he's rushed for something like 175 yards over the last 3 games, so that is how he's moving the ball. But even when incorporating that into his game, his QBR is below 50. He's not a good quarterback. So if he's got a bad hamstring and he's not mobile, then I think we've probably got a very bad quarterback if he's just relying on his passing. So that puts me towards the Bears sort of naturally. One thing to mention would be kind of Thanksgiving and Thursdays in general. You obviously it doesn't matter that you be on the public side. A lot of people go, like the Ravens last week, you don't want to be on the public side, they're getting 80% of the money. Well, it seems like on Thursdays you can be with the favourite, the public team. They're 58.5% against the spread on a Thursday, favourites, so the short week. 171 against the spread since 2003. And I think the idea is that you've got the better coach, generally you've got the better team, and there's less time to scheme up, quirks in the offense. And so, for this one, there's going to be less time to coach up Jeff Driscoll. And again, it's not 100% he will play. The backup, the third stringer, has been taking first string snaps. So I mean, that's going to hurt both their preparations anyway. This Blau kid. Now we'll touch on him quickly. He was a fourth string quarterback for the Browns before the year.
Yeah.
He completed 58% of his passes in the preseason. Passer rating was 72.9. He's no good, and he's taking not even full snaps this week on a short week. So against what is still a top 10 defense in the Bears. So whatever way you look at it, the Lions are in real trouble, I think.
Well, let's flip it over. Let's talk about the Bears offense, because they're still really bad. They were 4 for 15 on third down against the Giants, one of the worst defenses in the league. They've averaged 15 points in their last 3 games. They had 65 rushing yards against the Giants. Again, a pretty porous rushing defense. So, Prof, look, if we're looking at 2 exceptionally poor offenses here, and we look at the total, and yes, it's 37.5. Yes, there's no weather in play because it's indoors. But, I mean, we discussed before how kind of mid-30s were generally automatic overplays. But, my God, this is not one game you want to be sitting down here expecting or hoping for points.
God, it's tough to back an under 37 in a dome.
Fair, okay, fair.
Uh,
But
oh yeah,
if
I couldn't do it personally.
you've got Jeff Driscoll and Mitchell Trubisky as quarterbacks,
Yeah,
how can you talk yourself into backing over? And I think the only way an over gets up is if you have punt returns, kick returns, pick sixes, fumble return, which is very possible given
yeah,
you have two pretty anemic offenses, and the Bears defense we still know can turn the ball over.
yeah. I mean, they are an opportunistic bunch, and obviously they do. Cordarrelle Patterson is going to be returning kicks. He's a threat to take long distance. He's done it already this season. And yeah, I don't know. As I say, the whole game is a shit show. I don't know what to expect out of the Lions. I mean, if Driscoll was fully go, there's an argument that the Lions' offense is actually better.
Yeah.
It's just that the defense is, by kind of the advanced metrics, you've probably got the Bears top 10, top 12, and then the Lions down at 28 odd. So that's where the chasm is.
Yeah, and I don't think Driscoll is awful. If he's fully fit, I don't think he's awful. He's obviously bottom tier quarterback, but he can get around. And I think the Lions offense this year, Darrell Beverl has actually schemed some pretty good looks for them. They're not terrible.
Well, yeah, that's if he was healthy again, I'd probably like the Lions, because they do throw deep, which we like. They do have the receivers which can go up and get those balls, Golladay and Marvin Jones. They will go and high point the ball, and that is how you beat a good defense. Just chuck it up and hope your receivers can make plays, and they have been doing that. But as I say, his strength is not passing, and if he's not mobile, he's a bottom 3 quarterback in the entire league. So I can't put my money on him. I'd probably go with the favourites on the short week angle and what we know is the better team. So that's where, if forced, I would put my money.
Gun to the head, so Bears, and you lay the points.
Yeah.
I'm looking the first half under here. If I can get 20.5, I think this line could tick back up a point or two when Driscoll. We think Driscoll will be good to go. I think this ticks up a point or two when he is confirmed and the other line comes down. So I'm thinking if I got 20.5 in the first half total, back the unders prof, it just strikes me as a 10-3 kind of first half game max.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know what the Lions team total is still going to be. I would have thought 17 odd, and I think I know it sounds square, doesn't it? But that is probably a decent play under. I don't know how they're going to score points.
Yeah, I can't see the points either. Right, let's move on to the second game. Generally, the second game on Thanksgiving is kind of the game that gets the most eyeballs on TV, both on this side of the Atlantic and across the sea, where guys are having their turkeys and whatever else, and their yams. Buffalo Bills getting a 6.5 point start here. On the money line, you can back them at 3.62. You'll have to go down to 1.38 to back Dallas Cowboys at home here. 47 is the total. That opened at 45. Prof, that was one you were kind of interested early on the week, over 45. There's a couple of key numbers there with 46 mixed in. 47, bit too rich for you to be playing an over here?
If you get odds against, which you can post up, and you probably get 2.02ish, then I think worth a small bet on the over. So I think the key driver here, I like this game more, is the Buffalo Bills offense. So 2 weeks ago, they spoke a little bit about moving a lot more to no huddle. They ran 30% no huddle against the Dolphins. You might remember they put up 37 points, 37-20, something like that. Josh Allen came out and said, "Yeah, no, I like playing that way. Basically thinking a bit less trying to read the defense, just running the offense, and then obviously the defense has less time to adjust, less time to substitute. So it's just a bit more schoolyard football, which we know Josh Allen excels with, the way he runs around back there and chucks up those deep balls. So they ran it back again last week, ran no huddle 35% of plays against Denver, good defense, and they demolished them. So they put up their highest 2 yardage totals of the season last 2 weeks. No, you can kind of discount it against Buffalo, but you do it against Miami. But then you do it against Denver in kind of a windy game. Obviously, Denver put up 3 points, and you put up 420 yards both weeks. And it looks to me like something has changed a bit, that it is kind of an offense on the up. And it's reflected in their Football Outsiders numbers. A few weeks ago you asked us the worst winning team, and I said Buffalo, they were 25th in DVOA through 9 weeks of the season. Well, they're up to 14th since this offensive surge. We know the defense is as good as it as good as you can expect it to be. It's 19 DVOA on the season. It's had a favourable schedule, but it's probably not an elite defence. But I think we can expect Buffalo to score some points, especially against this Cowboys defence, which is 19th in DVOA, despite one of the easiest schedules in the league, the 5th easiest. So that's kind of one of the key angles.
And Josh Allen not turning the ball over too. He's only had 1 interception in the last 6 games.
Yeah, I don't know if we can count on that to continue, to be honest, because he career-wise,
he's a bit of a gunslinger, isn't
he?
he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's got interceptions in him. But as I say, he does seem to be more comfortable in no huddle, and it was similar for Trubisky. Actually, he was saying this week how much he prefers the no huddle against rather than not thinking. I wonder if it's something young quarterbacks prefer. They just want to go out there and play rather than a week they're grinding through this tape and going, well, if this linebacker's here, you switch here, and they overthink it out themselves. So just playing a bit more natural. And then on the other side, as I say, the Cowboys offense gone on the back.
Obviously, look, you were very bullish on the Cowboys on Sunday night. No, that weather came. We probably didn't factor in. We record obviously on Wednesday evening. It's can be hard to judge the weather. Even those 5-day forecasts kind of caught me in Buffalo with the wind too. I looked at Wednesday night. By the way, that's me getting my excuse in for my shitty best bet of the over in Denver and Buffalo. Did you see what I did there? I kind of merged it in there. But looking at the weather, there was only meant to be 4-mile-per-hour winds. Then you look on Sunday and you see 25-mile-an-hour gusts, and it's just one of those things. And that seems to have kind of caught you out. You were saying that the Dallas team total over. Now, you were also on the Dallas plus 6.5. God bless Jason Garrett for kicking that field goal. He bettors love Jason Garrett. He's like all the analytics in the league. What was it, 6.5 minutes to go? You should be going for it. Make it a 1-score game. But what is the difference between a 4-point deficit and a 7-point deficit?
Still need a touchdown.
And you still need to get the ball back. You've got limited possessions. And that's just how bad a coach this guy is. We've seen it with John Harbaugh on Monday night. He's going for the 4 goals. He's listening to the analytic guys. Then you have Jason Garrett, who just doesn't seem to know what analytics are. And in-game management, he's so bad. This team is 6-5, and you look at the talent that they have, and they should be a lot better than that, Brad.
Yeah, well, so they were asking about, obviously, it was quite well talked about afterwards, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And one of the reporters asked him, well, maybe if you're going to go for it on 4th down, then you can actually change your play calling earlier. So you might run it on 3rd and 6,
exactly.
pick up 4, and then you go for 4th down. And he hadn't even thought about the concept that going for it on 4th down might change your play calling earlier.
Well, that's all he has to do. He Kellen Moore is calling the plays. All he has to say to Kellen Moore is, hey, Kellen, you've got 2 plays here. It's just 4th down, 3rd down. And then, obviously, like you said, the offensive coordinator then can run the ball in 3rd down, knowing that they have the option of passing it on a 4th down. It's absolutely nuts. If you and I sitting at home, the coach, can kind of grasp that this guy getting paid X amount of million cannot.
Yeah. Do you follow Davis Matek, the DFS guy on Twitter?
Yeah.
Where he posted a tweet a couple of weeks ago now. He's going, if you've ever suffered from imposter syndrome and don't think you're good enough for your job or whatever, he said Jason Garrett is the head coach of a $5 billion NFL franchise and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
I think it's bang on because the talent, as you say, I think it's probably the best in the league. I think it's probably the best roster in the league. And especially at home, it seems like Amari's got quite a big home road splits. Maybe he's a bit soft, but in that dome, he is electric. And obviously, we know what Dak is going to do. So yeah, number one by DVOA. I think the reason this is perhaps a fraction low is because of those 2 weather games, as you said. Obviously, the Buffalo Denver game had 23 points because of that wind, and then everyone watched that Cowboys Patriots game, and there were drops all over the place. I think it got in Dallas's head. Well, Dak was just throwing balls, wasted them a glove on. He wasn't prepared for it, coaching again. But back in a dome in perfect weather, I think that's why it's a little bit low, and I think we can expect them to bounce back quite nicely. As I say, 2 defenses who face 5 easier schedules, 2 offenses which are on the up and have good metrics in my eyes with mobile quarterbacks, so they can convert those 3rd downs, run it in. I like the over, and I would probably lean to the Buffalo Bills plus 6.5, plus 7. You can get quite easily, given the improvement in offense we've seen in the last 2 weeks. And given the coaching mismatch, I think Sean McDermott is probably he's a top 10 coach, and obviously doesn't get spoken about much because he's up in Buffalo. But that defense has been good for 2 years now. Allen shown signs of growth now, and I think 7's quite a lot.
It's interesting what you say about the home road splits with this Dallas offense. Just looking at a couple of the stats here, they're averaging 30.2 points per game at home. On the road, a flat 24. Pass yards 339 at home. Away on the road, 280. Rush yards 137 versus 123 on the road. So that'll tell you. So, Prof, okay, we still like the over at 47. So obviously, if it starts getting a bit higher than that, you're getting through another key number with the 47. But let's look at the side. So Buffalo +7, you can back at 1.9, and you can back +6.5 at 2.04. Now, that half a point is obviously a pretty huge one in NFL terms. The 3 and the 7 are pretty much the key numbers. Where would you go there if you were having one bet there? 1.9 +7 isn't bad.
It's not bad at all. The value of the 7 is coming down a bit with more missed extra points, more people going for 2, that kind of thing. It was worth a fraction more than 10 cents last time I looked, so we'd probably go with the 6.5 here, I think. Or maybe the last option could just be the Buffalo team total over. It kind of gets us both the over and the Buffalo side in there. But I do think the Cowboys are going to score, as you touched on. They could hit 30. So
yeah.
Let's take the +6.5. We'll take the over and hope we get a close shootout.
Yeah, I still have maybe some slight concerns about Josh Allen, the primetime games. This is a massive stage. He's not really used to playing in these. But look, Buffalo's offense the last couple of weeks has been really good. Also, just in Josh Allen, I've been trying to catch on to this small bit. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns in the last couple of games, and he's third now in the betting for first touchdown scorer. Which will tell you that, literally everyone has kind of copped onto that. Like the main running backs for Denver, Singletary is 13.0. Frank Gore is way down at 20.0. Josh Allen right now seems to be the main goal line rushing threat.
I would lean Frank Gore there. He's getting probably a third of the work.
He's still getting the goal line carries, isn't he?
The goal line carries, getting the carries inside the 5. So if we do think Buffalo are going to score, Frank Gore touchdown could be a nice little look.
Yeah, I've got Devin Singletary in one of my fantasy teams, and Gore seems to be robbing a lot of those. Right, let's move on to the late game. Prof, you going to stay up for this one? Saints and Falcons, 1:20 kickoff.
I will not. I have 0 holiday left, and so I'll probably get to the end of the Cowboys game and turn.
Yeah, I've just booked off since last February, mate. You got to be ahead of the curve, right? Current betting at Matchbook, the Saints head into the Mercedes Superdome in Atlanta. 3.75. You can back the Atlanta Falcons here on the money line. New Orleans Saints at 1.36. The main handicap here is +7. The Falcons at 1.9. Seems to be about 6.5 here around as well if you want to back the Saints for a lesser price as well. 48.5 is the total. Prof, it just seems like yesterday both these teams played, which it nearly was because it was week 10. We're into week 13 now. The Falcons put a beating on the Saints in New Orleans. Thinking it could be something similar. Could the Falcons slow the Saints down again?
I think they could. I mean, the line itself is quite interesting. It's pretty much unmoved. It was probably 13.5. So if we lop off 6 for home field, it's pretty much what the line is now. So no adjustments, which I thought was quite interesting, given what we saw the Falcons do, and then I think the injuries to the Saints offensive line, I think, make the Falcons a decent bet and possibly the under. So it's Teron Armstead, the left tackle, is out, and then the left guard, Andrew Pete, he went out in that Falcons game, which they probably got 6 sacks on. And the talk, so Armstead was apparently ill or injured in the week building up to that game as well. So it's arguable that the situation is going to be the same, which is when we saw the Falcons get 6 sacks. The Falcons, they've killed me a little bit this season, but they are still third in this ESPN stat pass rush win rate. So just how quickly they beat their blocks in 2.5 seconds. So the defensive line is winning. It is good. They're 12th against the run for this season. So they're definitely winning up front to an extent, and it's probably issues in the secondary. But with this, the entire left side of the offensive line, new, different. They don't know exactly whether they're going to move Ramchick from right tackle to left. It seems a bit up in the air at the minute. I think we could see the Falcons have a bit more success rushing the passer. For the other side of the ball, I'm not bullish on the Falcons. Basically their weapons have been decimated. So Julio is questionable. He's been banged up for the last couple of weeks now. Didn't practice. Hooper looks unlikely to play the tight end. Obviously, they've traded away Sanu, so it could just be Calvin Ridley. And obviously, that becomes a lot easier to stop, especially when your offensive line is 28th in the NFL in that pass blocking win rate, basically the other side of the ball, and against the Saints' defensive line, which is 7th in Pro Football Focus's pass rush grade. So I suspect we could see a lot of pressure on both quarterbacks. And then the other stat, which is very interesting, is I see touted quite a lot nowadays, is basically the second game of the season between divisional rivals. When the total is 44.5 or higher, the under is now at 62% since 2003, which is, I mean, that's quite a chunky edge.
Yeah.
The theory is basically the teams, they've seen each other on tape all season, they've played once, they know their tendencies, they know what they want to do to move the ball, and they're much more effective at stopping it. And so with these potential injuries to Falcons' weapons, with these injuries on the Saints' O-line, and that kind of trend going away, I would lean to the under 48.5.
Yeah, and always short week games as well. You know, you've got a limited probably playable. The Falcons' defense is a funny one, Prof. I mean, like 2 weeks previous, you know, they dominated against Carolina. They dominated against the Saints. They looked like the 85 Bears. They looked like a team that were trying to save their coach's job. Then last week against the Bucs, what did they give up? They gave up an average of 7.2 yards a play. Now, don't get me wrong. I know this Bucs offense, they can fire. But it just looked like the Falcons seemed to have kind of given their everything in 2 games and said, oh, shit, we're kind of, you know, the emotion carried them in the previous games, and then it just seemed to kind of come up. And you just kind of wonder, with a team that's 3-8, what are they playing for here? You know, are they really playing for Dan Quinn? What are they playing for? But then again, Prof, like the Saints at 9-2, they're a funny team to get a read on too, because they gave up so many sacks in the previous game against the Falcons, and they just don't look great either.
So starting with the Falcons, you could argue that maybe it is an effort thing. You know, maybe it is how up for it, because they do play that cover 3 where you need to rally to the ball, you need to play with a lot of energy, and so maybe obviously they came out after the bye, they were fired up for that Saints game, they were maybe still fired up for that Carolina game, and then could say that against the Buccaneers, they were looking forward to this game, you know, revenge against, you know, back on the short week, Thanksgiving primetime game against the hated Saints again. Perhaps they were looking ahead and they're going to come back with that energy we saw in the first game. I would probably lean towards that, so I would expect we'd get decent effort. As for the Saints offense, I still don't think that Drew Brees is right, or that I just don't think he has the arm he used to. They just don't throw deep. They did last week, but the season to date, they just have not gone deep at all. It's one of the lowest average depths of target of any offense. It was the same with Bridgewater, so some of it's scheme. So what you see a lot is they have very good success rate. You know, they pick up 5 yards of play, they stay on schedule, but they don't have these explosive plays. They might hit one to Ginn every 2 weeks or whatever, but it's not the Chiefs. It's not the Chiefs out there who can hit you for 14 before you blink. And so that again, I think lends itself to a moving clock and the under, because they're going to go on these long 5 yards at a time 12-play drives, and they're not playing quickly. They're in the bottom third of the NFL in seconds per snap. So again, it points me towards the under.
48.5, pretty key number as well. You can back that 2.01, so it's just about odds against Matchbook. Right, Prof, 3 games in the book, Thanksgiving Thursday. Let's do a quick recap. The shit show that is the Bears and the Lions. Very tentative, half a point play, I would suggest, on the Bears, minus 3.5. If the first half handicap gets about 20.5, it won't get to 21. If it gets to about 20.5 or even a flat 20, I'll be taking the under there. Quite happy sitting down watching the punt teams trot on and trot off the field ad nauseum. Bills, Cowboys, Prof, so you're like in the over. What have we got at the moment? It is 47, a flat 47 at the moment. And you are liking the Bills plus 6.5. Or what are you thinking there actually, Paul? Sorry, plus 6.5 or 7?
I mean, if there's 7 at 1.9, we'll take that.
Yeah, there's plenty of 1.9 there, plus 7 on the Bills matchbook, and under 48.5, which leads me, of course, Mr. Professor Brad Allen, to your best bet. If you were to only have one bet, and I'm kind of getting the inkling that you may just have more than one bet for Thanksgiving. It wouldn't be like you, I know, but you may have multiple bets. But if you only had one bet here, Prof, what do you think? What's it going to be?
I'll probably go with this Falcons Saints under 48.5. I've talked myself into that while talking to you. It sounds like everything is pointing that way. So yeah, Falcons Saints under 48.5, 2.02.
Nice, love it. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys team total, double T's. Dallas Cowboys over 27. I do like the over in this in general, but I'm just a small bit worried about Josh Allen primetime Buffalo offense. I think we see a big bounce back from Dallas on Thursday after that. I wouldn't say it's a debacle in New England, but they'll be disappointed. They're 6-5. They really need to kind of get the push on, even in a poor NFC East. So over 27, the Dallas team total for me. And don't forget, folks, if you haven't got a Matchbook account, you do want to get involved, you can sign up for a £10 refund on your first bet. And the details of that offer.matchbook.com. And please do gamble responsibly at all times. Brad Allen, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Any turkey on the menu for the professor tomorrow night?
I did go into some local sports bar around here. I think it might be an Irish bar, so there'll be some American food on the menu. Yeah,
that sounds good. If you're watching us, of course, across the Atlantic in the United States, enjoy your Thanksgiving, and to the people watching us in the UK and Ireland, enjoy your Thanksgiving too. It's NFL. It's Thursday. What better way to spend a Thursday in November? And best of luck with your bets.